So I welcome Dr. Suelyn Hall to our health club. And thank you for joining us and giving us all your knowledge and sharing lots of information so people can get healed. I met Dr. Suelyn through Athena Sisterhood. And when I first talked to her, I found her very, very humble and very ground to earth person. She is so humble that I didn't even realize that, oh, she is a doctor. And then when I joined her first health club session, I realized that, okay, I have so many problems for myself and health wise, and I was looking for a right doctor, been going to doctor since last 5 years. But when I listened to her first session, I realized, oh my god, I found my doctor.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much for bringing all this nice information, great information to us. Thank you.
Thank you. And unfortunately, last night I missed our sister mind because I was taking my Texas exam so that I can treat Goddess of Happiness. And it was 3 hours of torture.
Oh my God. And yes. And thank you so much for going out of your way. Thank you so much.
It's okay. It's okay. Until I was in the middle of the test, I was like, oh no, this is not a fun test. But I completed and passed. So that's good. So today I wanted to make this a little bit more interactive, and I see that Sally has her mask on. So I may mention something about COVID since Sally has her mask on. And I hope that everyone is still washing their hands and wearing their mask out and keeping social distance. Everyone has forgotten that this is still around, and I think people have gotten lackadaisical, and I think that we should still be cautious. And one of the main things that I always recommended was zinc, because what the chloroquine did for the people that have COVID is that it opens the cell membrane and zinc goes in and inhibits the replication of the virus. So if you take zinc, it will be a great way to keep your immune system up and reduce that risk of replication, actually. So remember to take your zinc along with the other three micronutrients that I recommend in regards to being preventative are vitamin D, CoQ10, which helps to reduce the risk of breast cancer and breast cancer recurrence 800%, and then also to take omega-3 fish oils. Or if you eat 4 fish meals a week, you don't have to really take fish oils because you're going to get iodine content from it. So I was going to talk today a little bit about vitamins and what the benefits are. One of the things I have listed up here, though, is my cortisol slide. So I will take it down and share my screen with you all. But I wanted you all to have some questions. If you have any symptoms or any concerns that you don't know what they may be for, I can sometimes just give an insight into some things to do about that. So first, I'm going to share my screen here about cortisol, which we've been talking about all the time. And cortisol's awake. Can you see my screen, by the way? Yes? Okay. So the cortisol awakening response means that when we get up in the morning, and I love Whaley's beautiful sunrises, and she's up so early. Oh my gosh, I need to start getting up because I love sunrise. When I used to get called into the operating room earlier than my operating time, like I start normally at 7. And when I used to have to get up at like 4:30 or 5, I'd get really annoyed because I have a heavy surgery day. And I would see the sunrise and it would just, oh, I need to get up early. This is so beautiful. It's so nice. And yes, the birds sing even louder at that time of day. So anyway, the saliva cortisol response. This is a great article if any of you want to read. I thought I'd bring that up as a good reader. It's very technical, but you may be interested in reading anyway. And it talks about when we wake up in the morning and our serotonin is increased, that's a good time to get going. You know, yes, you can work out, but even the meditation component of waking up and being still in a little bit of melatonin high and then switching over to serotonin is a great time to meditate as well. So even if you get up and you're not out of bed yet, that would be a great time to even meditate. Whaley, do you actually get out of bed for your meditation? Yes?
not only I get out of bed, I get out of my room, I come upstairs, I change a completely environment.
Really?
So, yeah, I'm fully like, I put my foot on the ground. I'm really connecting my energy at the bottom.
Excellent. Excellent. So that's great. So Whaley is on top of all of that. And one sec, my cortisol, can you see this slide now? Everyone remember this slide about cortisol, but I wanted to bring in also the estrogen component to why vitamins are important for us. So I talked about vitamin D to help our immune system for COVID, but I didn't explain about the other things it does for our immune system. It's very cardioprotective, so it helps heart disease. But if you have extra calcium in your body and you take just vitamin D by itself, it can precipitate as coronary artery calcium. So we don't want to increase our risk for heart disease. So whenever you take vitamin D, you should probably also take it with K. And so D and K together, like K-Force, I can always list some for you guys to take. D with K really is cardioprotective, and it allows the calcium to go into your bones. So as women, we need some calcium, and our parathyroid gland actually makes enough calcium. We actually don't have to take really extra calcium, and milk really doesn't provide that much calcium, and we all should probably be dairy-free anyway. But your calcium that you're making from here, so as not to precipitate in the kidney to cause kidney stones, if you take it with K, then it goes into bone directly, and it doesn't precipitate into the urinary tract. But the important thing about D is that it can convert estrone, this thing here, to estradiol. So that's why Japanese have the lowest incidence of breast cancer. This is the one estrogen that causes breast cancer, estrone. And to convert estrone to estradiol, you need iodine, which is what's eaten in a lot of fish, but also vitamin D. So vitamin D is protective against breast cancer. So that's why I bring that up as a major important component to eating as well. Then the other component is B12. B12 is important for methylation, and methylation prevents breast cancer. So B12 is also important to prevent breast cancer, and it helps with methylation. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Oh, sorry, it's at the top. Hey, there we go. So any of you ladies have any questions about vitamin D or B12 in any way, how much to take and so forth? Do you know how much to take? Yes, Phyllis? I can't hear you, sorry.
Sorry, I had to take myself off mute. I know vitamins they vary very much in quality. Do you have a brand that you recommend? Because
yes. So Metagenics, which you can get through our full scripts. I don't think you can get it online, just regular. So I'll send you a link to the full scripts. Full Scripts is a company that has all the different nutraceuticals. So they'll have Metagenics, they'll have Pneumatica, they'll have Orthomolecular, which each one has a different brand that's good for each item. So for vitamin D specifically, I like Metagenics for two reasons. It comes in a glass bottle, so it protects the integrity, and it's dark. It protects the integrity of the stability of the vitamin D in the capsule. So what happens is that in the capsule, it's liquid. So what the outside contains of determines its stability. So you could get one from Walmart, which is supposedly just as good, but if it's been on the shelf a year, you don't know that. So this company checks day 1, day 30, and day 365. If they're not equal, they get rid of them. So you're getting better quality, same price, $6 a month, very cheap, very, very cheap. So I will send you an info to it.
Okay, also, just to follow up on the vitamin D,
Yes.
I heard it or read it. I've always taken liquid because they said that absorbs better than the capsules.
The D, actually, if you take liquid with the K, it's the best combination. And I do have a recommendation for that as well, the D with the K, so it goes into your bones to help prevent osteoporosis. But then if you take D in the capsule, if it's in a glass bottle, it's as protected. If it's just in, the plastic regular bottle, not as protected. So then it changes its quality, yes.
So would the D and the K be in the same liquid bottle?
Yes, it's in the same liquid bottle, yes.
Awesome, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And for B12, and the amount you need is at least 5,000. Most people think, oh, 5,000 is so much. It really isn't. Most of us are vitamin D deficient because we are not running around naked outside because it's frowned upon. And we wear sunscreen, and we're not getting as much sun as we should.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have a question. Yes. So vitamin D, I take right now 50,000 unit.
Yes, once a week. Once a week.
I used to take once a week, but right now I feel so low in my energy. So right now I started taking 3 times a week, actually.
Okay, so that's 150,000, which is a lot, and it will be a little toxic for you.
Okay.
Sometimes you can get vitamin D toxicity, so you'll get more edgy and irritable. So I would not necessarily suggest taking that much. Maybe you can add 1. Taking it daily is going to be better for you, because you're going to get something every day rather than bursts, because your body's going to absorb it quicker than you think. So I would actually take 5,000 a day, which comes to 35,000 a week, or you can I take 10,000 a day actually. So that would come to 70,000 a week, which would be more than what you're getting.
Okay.
I actually took 15,000 for a year to get my vitamin D to go from 7 to 70. It took that long.
Okay.
The toxicity is not going to be right away. It takes a while to build up.
Okay. And this liquid vitamin D,
Yes.
that's a vegetarian or vegan?
Vegetarian, yes.
Vegetarian. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's great.
Actually, I think it may be vegan, actually.
It should be.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll send it to you.
Yeah. So I'm going to, because I want to try that liquid. I have never tried the liquid one. So that would.
Deb, you had a question?
Well, I was going to ask you the stability of the liquid. How long?
Yes.
I take the liquid and
Is it in a dark bottle?
Yeah, and it's in a dropper. And
Yes.
I'm not sure who makes it. I don't know the supplier. But I
Okay.
get it from my natural health doctor. So,
Okay.
but how long is that stable? Because I feel like I
That's
keep it
very stable if you have it in the refrigerator. So if you don't have it in the refrigerator, it's not as stable. And that's why I kind of don't mind the capsule, but I prefer the liquid is better, but I keep in the refrigerator.
I keep all of my vitamins in the refrigerator.
It lasts longer.
Okay.
Yes, that's a good idea. Any questions, Julie?
Thank you. No, that's actually, I've been told that I have a deficiency in vitamin D, so I really appreciate the information. And I've tried the liquid vitamin D before, but not over a long period of time, and I didn't know which was better, so I really appreciate that. I am trying a number of different things like turmeric and ashwagandha, and as well as some of the other wonderful greens that you need to get into your day. Is there something in particular that's a natural product that you would also recommend as a benefit for someone over 50?
Yes. So ashwagandha is fantastic for cortisol. I was talking about cortisol a while ago. So ashwagandha, ginseng, rhodiola are great items. There's actually a vitamin called Adrena Vive that I recommend for all my patients that I don't think you can get it there either. I'll put a link, and then you can go to this link and you get everything that I'm talking about. You can just pick what you want.
Okay.
But the Adrena Vive is one of the ones that I like for cortisol. It has all of those together in one. I love turmeric because turmeric is very protective for breast cancer. So I'm going to tell you the natural things that are breast cancer specific protective. One is flaxseed. So I usually recommend for people to have flax seed or flax ground daily. Green tea, if you don't like to drink it like I do, then you can actually take an extract. So I can even put that in the list too. I'll make a list for myself. So green tea extract, and then also cruciferous vegetables. So broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. But if you don't want to eat any of those, you can take I3C DIM. So I3C DIM is also breast cancer protective. And the other thing that's breast cancer protective is resveratrol. But those are the things I give when somebody has a high estrone, the thing I showed you before that needs vitamin D to convert it. So if they have a high estrogen, I give all of those things, and turmeric and rosemary. So if you make lamb if you ever eat meat and make lamb, rosemary is fantastic for that. So having fresh rosemary is very good in your diet. And then omega-3, the fish oil. If you take 200 milligrams per day of that, that is also very protective for breast cancer. And then B replete is one of the other things. And I'll put all of these in a list for all of you, and you guys can pick what you want out of the list. But B replete has B6 and B12 at the right dose that you need for maintenance. So B6 helps convert homocysteine, which you don't know these words, but homocysteine to cysteine, which is important for glutathione production. Glutathione is the #1 immune modulator to prevent all cancers. I actually take that every day, but it's kind of nasty. It tastes like rotten eggs. So some people don't like it, but I take it every morning before I brush my teeth, and then it goes away. It's just a teaspoon anyway. But so if you don't want to take glutathione, you just make sure you're eating all those things. You're having enough B12, B6, omega-3, flaxseed, turmeric, and rosemary. Now, the other things that are brain protected, if you're worried about like Alzheimer's or anybody in your family with issues like that, the things that are beneficial, melatonin we spoke about the other day. Mm-hmm. The other is holy basil. Holy basil is really good for brain protection, and boswellia. I actually use, because my wrist from operating, my thumb would hurt from doing prostate surgeries all the time. And so I have a cream that I put on my hand that has boswellia in it, emu, and lidocaine. And those are really, really good for any kind of pain, but also for brain, because it helps the nerve. And that's why it helps for joints issues as well. Because it's helping the neurons to be not stripped. Because what happens when we have oxidative stress or things that really affect our function is it's stripping the nerve. And so to protect the nerve stripping, those are the things that help a little bit.
Well, interesting.
Yeah.
So is that something, the boswellia?
Boswellia. So the combination, actually, that is actually a prescription. The cream that I use is actually a prescription, which I think I can write that for you guys without seeing you. I'll find out to make sure, just to be safe, because you're in California, right?
Right.
Okay. So I want to make sure that I have the right license, not get into jail. I look good in orange though. So if I went to jail, you can visit me. But I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing.
Yes, of course, of course.
So I'll find out about that, the cream specifically.
Mm-hmm. So what you said about the neuroprotective, which is really interesting, is that something too that is beneficial to somebody that has an autoimmune, or in my brother's case, MS?
Yes, MS. So the things that are great for MS specifically are high dose vitamin C. So I'm talking like 5,000 a day, which would be a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. High dose vitamin C is great for that. Unfortunately, most guys, we don't give progesterone, but high dose progesterone is good for MS as well. Just because most women get MS more than men, actually. The other things that are protective for your brother for MS would be, I just blanked on, well, glutathione would be great, actually. Glutathione would be really good for him. And then also, there's something that I'm blanking on. I may look it up and give you a private message, Julie.
Okay.
Okay, for MS, because there's something I should remember right now. It's not clicking. That's really specific for MS. That's very protective. Of course, the other ones that I just said too. Yeah. Let's see. There was something else I was going to talk about today. Anyone? Yes, Goddess of Clarity.
Thank you. You know, so many of these, I think are so helpful. What you're saying is so helpful. Thank you. I'm wondering if times a day, as opposed to this take with food, you don't take this with that, you know.
Yes. So most of the things that are going to get you excited, like the Adrenavive for cortisol, that I would take in the morning, right? And then vitamin D, because you want to get more of your energy through the day, I would also take in the morning. Things like if you have trouble sleeping that have sleeping benefits like Serenity PM, which has like GABA in it, and 5-HTP, which are the calming neurotransmitters. Those I would take in the evening. And I always take magnesium in the evening because magnesium helps you sleep very well. Because if your intestines are relaxed and comfortable, you will sleep like a baby. But if your intestines are contracting and irritated, you will be awake. So most people think that their sleeping problems are not necessarily related to their abdominal content, but it really is. So that's why when you eat a heavy meal before bed, you will get hypoglycemic in like 4 hours. So you will spike and then bottom out. So say you had a glass of wine for dinner. It would be better to have a little piece of protein, like a piece of meat with your wine, because the protein will help you with not getting hypoglycemic in 4 hours. So if you have a glass of wine at night, have a little protein with it. The other vitamins that are great to take in the day, with or without food. Vitamin D doesn't matter with or without food. Adrenavive either. None of the ones that we talked about. B12. These sometimes can irritate your stomach, so I would take that with food. Magnesium doesn't matter either. Things that really upset your stomach are like resveratrol. I would always take that with food. And the I3C DIM and SAMe I would take with food. Those are also a little bit irritating for some people.
I have one more question about turmeric.
Yeah.
I use turmeric fresh, turmeric, and I don't take the pills or anything, but I use turmeric. Yeah, because I notice that people sometimes when you're storing herbs or seasonings and things like that, they can get out of date rather quickly.
Yes, yes. The other thing about doing it fresh is you don't get the silica that's in the capsule. Like sometimes what I would do was I was taking so many other medications, I would open the capsule and pour it in my smoothie because then I have less capsular intake. I don't want to be constantly having so many pills. I mean, you can see my little pill box here that I already had multiple things. I don't know if you can see, but sometimes you get too many of those capsules in your gut, and that can't be healthy either, right? If you think about it. So always, if you can, eating something is always better. That's why I say add rosemary to your food or eat the foods rather than the I3C DIM, and that will make a big difference for us, to not have that extra stuff in your gut. Greta? Oh, probiotic, I was going to come up. Remind me to say that. Yes, Greta?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I've been having problems with my stomach, pretty bad. It hurts like on the upper. And I have a history of diverticulitis.
Okay.
Fortunately, they had to remove about 90% of my colon.
Okay.
And I do take Protonix, which is for acid reflux. I also have rheumatic and osteoarthritis. What do you recommend for me to take? I will have to look at the video again because I want to write everything down.
Yes.
But it's horrible to have your stomach upset all the time. I've been taking fruits for the past couple of days, nothing else.
So one of the best things for your gut health is probiotic. It's very important. You can have it in kombucha if you want it naturally, or you can take it, but you have to change it every 3 months. If not, your gut gets used to it. So I like 20 billion with like 7 different strains. You want to have Saccharomyces in there if you're a female that likes sugar, because it will help decrease your yeast in your gut. And a lot of us have a lot of yeast. For my people that I put on a diet regimen, I actually give them diflucan for a whole month. And the pharmacist will say, wow, why are you giving so much medicine for a whole month? Because diflucan is usually only given for a week. But I think it helps people's guts tremendously when they're on diflucan.
And that, could you message me?
Yes, I can message you
Name of
separately.
it,
Yeah.
because it's very difficult. My stomach is so sensitive, and when I eat, for example, heavy food, I don't eat red meat, so it normally affects me a lot. And on top of that, dealing with the arthritis, it's basically a lot of pain. And because I don't want to take, I am taking gabapentin. I think
Yes.
that's what it is.
So the problem with those medicines is they cover the problem. You most likely want to do like a food sensitivity test to see what you're allergic to. Most of the times it's what you're eating that's causing joint pain. It's not the joint. So like if you're eating processed foods with like chips or bread or pasta.
What do you think about this?
That's a medication. See, I like natural things more because
That's what I want to
that
do.
just covers the problem. Yes. So I like for you to change your diet by having no dairy. If you want, you can do a 30-day challenge with Christine and myself.
No dairy? Okay.
No dairy, no eggs, no bread, no pasta, no processed foods, no alcohol.
No alcohol.
And mainly greens and vegetables and fruit. And meats are usually just fish.
Okay.
Or just vegetables. So those things would be very helpful for you to get you gut. And you can start with a detox. Like I recommend a detox for people that are this bad, that have diverticulitis. And there's one called Prolon, and I can put it in the list also. I'll write it down.
Please.
And Prolon is good because it's a mimicking fasting, but you're getting like soups and enough nutrients so you're not hungry. And you can eat, you get 5 meals a day. For 5 days, and you can lose about 10% of your body weight. It's amazing. I did it before I went to a wedding just to fit in the dress, but you know, but it's a good thing just to be healthy anyway, because it can jumpstart you into a healthier start for your healthy diet. Julie, I found my list in my phone for MS. So it's omega-3, NAC, which is N-acetylcysteine, B12, the CoQ10, like I told you, the progesterone, like I told you, alpha lipoic acid, ALA, the glutathione that I told you about, ginkgo, C, which we talked about, then B3 and B6. So the B replete that I was telling you about would be great for him as well. But I'll send it to you. I just found it. Yeah. But Greta, I really want you to try with eating differently, because it always starts with what we put in our mouth. You know, everybody wants to cover it up with something else, but MS and what we're getting with joint issues start with exposure to chemicals, you know, whether like in the army, you know, shots, or where they burn, incinerate things, or chemicals that we're exposed to in our food even. So try to eat organic if you can. It's expensive, but you know, it's worth to decrease your exposure. And also reduce the things that are processed, because if you think back to 1920s, we really didn't have as much cancers and as much MS or Parkinson's or rheumatoid arthritis or any of these things until our foods became more processed. So when we had slow cooking and we didn't have pans that were filled with, what's that thing called, in the bottom of the lining of the pan, like Teflon.
Teflon.
Yeah, that's terrible for us. Right? And so we need to be mindful of the things that we're exposed to. Even my lotions that I'm using, I'm trying to pay attention to use more like coconut oils, like Jamaicans do, which are, you know, very natural, instead of stuff with 10 million names on there. When they have so many names there, there's stuff in there you don't need. We need to get scents from Deb. Some scents.
Using just olive oil on your skin is just beautiful. It's so much better than coconut oil, actually.
I like the olive oil. I may try that today.
What do you think about the Athena body oil? Because that's what I use.
I don't like anything they have so much words in the back. There's something in there that's not good for you. I mean, I use stuff too, so I'm not being judgmental, just aware. to reduce your exposure.
I'll change it to coconut oil.
Or olive oil, she said.
Or olive oil. Okay.
Yes.
I got that at home, so I will start using it.
Also,
Thank you. Thank you, Goddess of Clarity.
Yes. Just in general, lotion is not as good as just an oil base. Exactly why we don't make any water products, because there's so much alcohol that you have to add to it for the stability end of it.
Thank you.
And then also, one of the things that I often recommend in regards to nutrition is vitamin C. If you take extra, you'll pee it out, but at least 1,000 milligrams is what we should all take every day. That just helps your immune system as well. For your eyes, you need at least 10,000 vitamin A per day, and a multivitamin that has 10,000 in it is going to be good for you. But the amount of B12 you need is about 800 micrograms, and the amount of B6 you need is about 20 to 40 milligrams. So I will send you a list of ones that have everything in there, and you can pick whether you want the one that I recommend or one that you have may just have the same ingredients, and that would be fine too. But you want to make sure the amount is good, because that's the important part. And they need to have B3, B6, B12, B2 is also important, riboflavin. Those are also important ingredients to the vitamins. There are also other nutritional things that are helpful for us, water. And we all don't drink enough water. I bring all my waters with me. This is sparkling grapefruit water. And I make sure that I bring with me exactly what I need for the day. And so at the end of the day, I haven't finished, then I have to gulp a lot, right? But I know that I need 2.4 liters a day. So half my body weight times 30 is the minimum I need a day. If I'm going to work out, I need another liter. So that, like today, I'm going to work out, I need 3 liters. Yes, Deb?
I'm just going to add to that a little bit on making sure that we're not drinking from plastic as much or cans, because first the environmental, but it's also the health benefit that you're getting if you're drinking filtered water rather than buying bottled water. That really, if we could all just cut back on our plastic use, would be great.
Thank you, Deb. I think plastics is a big problem. I think that even if I buy a BPA-free water, right, which is better, if it was in a truck from Kansas City here for 2 hours in the heat at 104 degrees, I'm getting the plastic in my water. Do you know what I mean? So I think the filtered water from the tap is going to be best. And then in these cans, I just found out about a month ago, these are lined with BPA. Did you know that? That's crazy. Why do I want, and it doesn't even say anything on these cans. And you don't even know that you're getting BPA in your tin can. So doing food sensitivity tests are really good because it will tell you specifically what you have extra. I just did one, and one of the big wigs in town here, and she's allergic to copper. Well, her pipes at home are copper pipes. So she's not going to bathe in bottled water. So how is she going to reduce her exposure? Because your skin is your biggest organ, so you absorb a lot through your skin, right? So I tell her she may need to just try and filter more and get something that can reduce the copper. Actually, at my house, I have a filtration system that starts at the beginning. So all my showers, water, drinking, everything is filtered. So that's another option.
We had to do that. We did that with my son because, well, I've been so aware since I had my son. He was allergic to water. Really, we would have to keep the bathtub filled overnight, so just the chlorine would leave. So
wow.
And because I would put him in as a baby, I would give him a bath, and he would turn bright red, and I just didn't understand. And this is like before Whole Foods and all that. There wasn't anything on the shelves that he could actually use. So we've been really sensitive to that. And he's a huge advocate on the plastic. I didn't realize how much one-time plastic use I was using just in my plastic bags or all the things, you know, putting a sandwich. If you put a sandwich in a plastic bag,
I know.
Eat it for 4 hours in a plastic bag, or vegetables, like, you know how we would store things.
Yes.
So we had to convert everything into stainless steel or glass.
Wow.
Our first
You should thank him, unfortunately, because you became aware because you had to. That's amazing. We all use way too much. Phyllis, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
I was gonna add to the water thing.
Yes.
What do you think about alkaline water? Because we're
Yes.
pretty
So
punchy.
Julie just asked the coin question. Thank goodness. Thank you, Julie. I think that the alkaline water is, we need to be more alkaline. All of us are very acidic. I actually have an acid alkaline sheet right here that I need to send to all of you, because this sheet tells all the things that are acidic and all that's alkaline. Just for instance, what do you think, Phyllis, would be more acidic? Plum or lime?
Plum.
Plum? Very good, you must know. So plum is very acidic, and then like lime, lemons are very alkaline, grapefruit's very alkaline. This sheet is, I really need to figure out how to send it to you guys, because it is important, because most of us are very acidic. Chicken is very acidic. Beef is very acidic, but if you eat grass-fed, antibiotic-free, less acidic. So those are important things as well. Just like deer meat and goat and bison, those are all roaming. So they eat what's naturally around. Beef and chicken eat what we feed them. So that is the reason why it's not as healthy, because we are giving those poor animals bad food, you know? So then we're eating that. So we're eating all the antibiotics these animals have had and all the chemicals they've had. And the problem with the genetically modified wheat and corn is that you're now eating that when you eat that beef, right? So when you go out, unless you ask for grass-fed antibiotic, which most restaurants don't have, you know, it's better to eat a fillet at home because you know what you bought, right?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Does the list that you have there, I would love for you to send it to me. I don't know if you want to send it via email or...
Okay, yeah, that would be better. If you guys give me your email addresses, I'll send it through the email.
Okay.
My office administrator, I don't know how to do that, but...
Gastroenteritis, I also have that. So is that list going to help me?
Yes.
My
Actually,
gastroenteritis?
Greta, we can actually visit and set up a free consult for you, because I have so much information about arthritis for you. One of the biggest things to help is LDN, which is low dose naltrexone. It's fantastic to help MS. Julie, I really want your brother to ask about a low dose naltrexone. That is one of the biggest new things that is out there that's done amazing. It's called, and you should get him or yourself, the LDN book, L, D, and N. It's by Linda Elsgood. It's by Linda Elsgood. And this book is awesome in explaining how low-dose naltrexone binds to the receptor and inhibits the bad receptors to not bind. And so what it does, it's like, it used to be used for opioid addicts back in the day, naltrexone, and then they figured out that this is really good for all autoimmune disorders, MS, Parkinson's, rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's. It's phenomenal. And so I started treating patients. There's actually an LDN Facebook that actually talks about people that have had marked improvement in their symptoms since starting LDN, and people that are really, really gone far, it has really helped with recovery. And there's a 30-year-old male who had MS in this book that went to his doctor and said, this doctor was going to quit medicine. And she said, I have thousands of patients and I treat them. Everybody has 10, 30 medicines and nobody's getting better, so I'm going to quit medicine. And then this MS guy came to her at 30 and said, you have to give me LDN, doc, please. And she goes, I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't even know what LDN is, because she's a primary care doctor. So he goes, you're my only doctor. You have to help me. She went and did research, found out what it was. She's like, what am I going to lose? Let me give this guy LDN. He improved. He had trouble walking before. He had trouble in a wheelchair, and he actually was able to walk after that. Impressive information, yeah. And so she started treating patients again. And so she has now 100 people on LDN, and they are doing amazing. Yeah, it's a great book.
I have one more question, actually. So right now, you started out with the COVID, washing hands and all that. I just want to follow up on something. After you've got, my husband actually had to go to the emergency room last night, so he's in the hospital. So I'm a little underslept. So,
wow, yeah.
Yeah, so.
You okay? What's happened?
We'll find out. He was having, he thought he ate something last night while we were on our meeting and wherever we were at last night in the group, but he had eaten something and it just felt like it got lodged and he couldn't get that up. He was just trying to throw up and all this stuff, right? All kinds of stuff. And it was really awkward thing. So he really just didn't feel good. By the time he went to sleep, he couldn't sleep. So we ended up taking him to the hospital last night. So he's having a bunch of whatever's happening right now. He's at Northwestern. But yes, they did that already. And he got prepped for that early this morning. So in either case, while I couldn't go into the hospital with him, obviously, because
I know.
So, but I was watching a lot of stuff going on, and now I'm a little concerned about when I have to go and pick him up today. I'm hoping to pick him up today, but I'm also worried about like what the procedure is that we're going to have to go through.
So I'm sure
this is going to be
that they're very. Sorry, go ahead.
No, my concern is like, do I need to quarantine him then? And what would be my go-to steps?
I think that everywhere has been very, very cautious in the hospitals. Masks, gowns, gloves, still, they have been very, very careful. So he probably has less exposure than you think, even though, yes, it's good for you not to go in and increase more people exposure. But I don't think he needs to be quarantined unless they thought of something that was respiratory for him. And then if you'd be worried, but you can choke on something with reflux. So a lot of people can get a little bit of inflammation in their gut from having constant reflux that they don't know. Protonics, I took that for 25 years. It's horrible because it messes up your vitamin D level. It messes up your bones. It causes problems. But some people need it in a short term. So if they give it to them for 6 months, that's fine. But don't take it for 25 years like me, because you'll learn like Protonics or Zantac or Prevacid, all of those that are over the counter that are everybody can take, which is all bad for us. They cause vitamin D deficiency. They cause omega-3, CoQ10 deficiency. They really aren't great, and we are given them by all our doctors, and you can buy it over the counter, right? So
I've been taking Protonics for years.
Me too. I took it 25 years. I'm not judging. I'm just explaining this is horrible. It took me 6 months to wean off of it, and I had to take Zinc-Lori, which is zinc carnosine. So zinc can heal your gut. So if you take zinc carnosine, which is Zinc-Lori, I'll put that on the list too. It can help you pass through the Protonics and get past it, but you also have to change your diet. So you can't just take the medicine and eat badly. But maybe if they don't find anything except, make sure it's not respiratory, If they think it's respiratory, they'll tell you to quarantine him. But if they don't think it is, you could be fine.
Okay.
Because they're being cautious, I'm sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. If anywhere, that's where they're being cautious. The patients may not be, but the staff have been.
Right.
Still. Yes.
So Fire has a question. How do we get bioidenticals?
How do we get what? I'm sorry?
Bioidenticals? Bioidenticals, like bioidentical hormone?
Oh, bioidentical hormones. Oh, yeah. Okay. I actually treat patients for bioidentical hormones. If you want, Phyllis, we can do a free consult at any time, and I can go over everything with you. We can set it up, and I can explain. Chicago, right?
Atlanta. Mm-hmm.
So usually, like for Texas, I had to do a license to be able to treat someone there. So I probably have to do a license, or I can refer you to someone there about bioidentical hormones, but it's better for you because it's safer than synthetic, because the molecule is made from yam and they add carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen to it to make it look like what your body makes. So when your body recognizes it, it recognizes it as a safe molecule and uses it appropriately. And a lot of us need that because it really helps with our feeling of well-being or energy level. But I also have some things that are natural that are not bioidentical hormones that are similar to a bioidentical hormone if you don't want to use hormones at all. So I have a list of those things too, so we can discuss that if you want.
Sounds great.
Yeah, but I have that for testosterone for women and men, and I have that also for progesterone and also for estrogen.
Awesome. I know I'm low on progesterone.
Yes, most of us are.
I mean, even in my 30s, because I ended up having to go in vitro for my second daughter, and it was because my progesterone was so low.
And so progesterone, if you know very well, progesterone gets stolen by, hang on, I think I'm sharing and I'm not sharing. There we go. Progesterone gets stolen by cortisol. So that's why even young people can have a progesterone deficiency, and they're not old yet. They're not at this stage yet. They're not here where they're decreasing their production by naturally, but normally we decrease our production between ages 35 and 50. And when you have more estrogen than progesterone, that's why you start having a lot of these symptoms, you know, fibroids, cysts, migraines, breast disease, fluid retention, weight gain, mood swings, panic attacks. These are classic for low progesterone. And so some people just need progesterone. They don't necessarily need estrogen, or they may benefit from even just replacing testosterone, because testosterone will make estrogen, but cortisol seeks progesterone every time. And that is the negative, because all of us are stressed all the time. We live at a high stress pace. We don't go up and down. We're really always stressed these days, unfortunately. And so this is an important thing to replace, because it really helps with your productivity in your job and everything else, right? If you're actually stable and not up and down. But there's some natural ones that I can recommend too if you don't want to take bioidentical hormones. But bioidentical hormones is phenomenal. I'm on bioidentical hormones. My doctor is actually in Detroit. He's one of my professors. And when I used to throw things in the operating room and curse at the nurses about 5 years ago, and then the same thing happened about 2 years when I've been on hormones, and the nurses were like, "Oh my gosh, you were so nice and calm. Don't stop your hormones." It was hilarious. They actually could tell the difference. So,
that's a prescription?
Yes, it's usually a prescription. But there's some natural things, if you want, Deb, that I can recommend that are not prescription, but the bioidentical hormone is prescription. Yeah. So then I would have to have license in Atlanta or Georgia. Once the exam is not like Texas, it's no problem. Texas was torture. And actually, you know, I'm doing for Florida, and Florida is like 10 minutes. It was pretty easy. And I'll check out for Illinois, because I need to go and work there for locum tenens anyway. So I'm gonna have to have a license there. I have a license in other states, but not those, but I can apply, then I can actually help you. I'll find out about Illinois.
And Arkansas.
And Arkansas. Let me write this down. Texas is the most difficult state. Everywhere else is pretty easy. Arizona was easy, Nebraska was easy, everywhere except, you know,
Texas
and I guess California.
Yeah, California would be, yes. So when you asked yesterday, I forgot, like I have lived in Alabama before years.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
I don't know how the Alabama would be, so I don't know.
Okay.
So I think it's our time to take a picture.
Yes, I have a quick question. If anybody has specific things they want answered, you can message me directly. And even if you want me to do it in a chat for the next health club, I can do that too. Or we could just do personally.
Could you make sure you send us that one slide that you show us with the and the wheel? Could we get that slide so we can see it closer, because it's so hard to see on the.
Is it? Oh, this one you mean? I'll share a screen again. Sorry. Sorry about Goonie. This one?
Yes.
This one? Okay. Did you want also this other one? This one?
Yes.
Okay. I'll send you both of those.
And then the one on the alkaline.
On which one? Oh, yeah. And then this one.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Alkaline.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me stop my share. Hang on for your photo. Okay. Thank you, ladies. Sorry we went over time.
We got lots of information.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suelyn.
You're welcome. See you
Thank you,
guys.
goddesses.
Good visiting with you.
Thank
Thank you.
Bye, Baguni. Thank you.